Funding for this program provided by First State Financial, Ashland, Passport Health Plan, Central Bank, Thrivent Financial. Thank you for your support.
Hello, and welcome to Know More, the educational television series that takes a look at what life would be like without nonprofit services in your community. In this episode of Know More, we will learn a little bit more about bluegrass area nonprofits who help Kentuckians secure temporary and permanent housing. Here in Lexington, Kentucky, there are a number of nonprofits who help to keep city residents safely and affordably housed. Here's a segment on one such group, the Urban League of Lexington.
This Urban League was started about 1968. Chapter was established. We became a part of the local United Way, and the first executive director was hired. His name was Walter Brown. I volunteered to help him as he was getting started. That summer, I worked for the Community Action Agency, and that fall, Mr. Brown asked if I would want to come work for the Urban League, and I did, and the rest is history. Here we are, what, 47 years or so later.
The housing concept started back in 1981 when they formed the Development Corporation. It was formed to promote economic development in Fayette County for the low and minority neighborhoods. And from there, it progressed from there. We provided housing for seniors. We have three developments, and more recently was the Russell School Project over on 5th Street in Toner. Poverty in Fayette County is often a hidden factor, particularly because of the affluence of Fayette County. You have pockets of poverty that are unseen or hidden. Families that are living in substandard housing, paying more than 50% of their income towards rent and living expenses, high utility bills, and they're really struggling trying to make a life for themselves. The children are exposed and suffering, and their incomes. Our mission is to bring in quality, safe, and housing that is not only convenient, but is also affordable to them.
Well, I lived in an apartment, and I was actually looking for a house. My daughter actually found this house online, and when I came to view the house and discovered it was an Urban League house, I had never rented from Urban League, and that's how I got into the program. It's a benefit for me because I'm not able to own a home right now. I've actually sat on the porch and have had people go up and down the street and say, I've worked on that house, I did this in that house. And I'm like, well, thank you. But they told me that they came in and they gutted some of it and that some is an addition, and it's really a nice house. It's a nice house.
There's an abundance of abandoned and dilapidated properties in our target area.
When you come upon several houses that are run down, the windows are broken, and some of them have even been set on fire, the yard is not kept, and regardless of the neighbors, the other houses around it can be nice houses, but that one house is just an eyesore, and it's like you're not really taking care of your area. And everyone wants to live in a nice place regardless of where it's at.
So removal of blight is essential for someone's outlook, someone's attitude, someone's motivation in life.
There's also something that's contagious. when we go into a neighborhood and start to make the changes. Then you start to see other neighbors do things to spruce up their properties, do things to maintain it better. There's all kinds of growth, all kinds of development.
Well, it would certainly leave a void if there was no Urban League and if there was no housing, affordable housing. You would have families that would not be able to find decent and affordable housing. Where do they go? Do they have an alternative? Seniors, can I live with my children? Nobody, they don't want to be dependent. They like independence, so where do they go? I don't have an answer.
Well, this particular program wasn't here. I don't think that a lot of the houses that they have worked on would have been anything done to them. I think that the houses would still be run down. You know, a lot of people, the areas, people wouldn't have homes to live in, affordable homes to live in. So for me, I think that this program has opened up a door for you to have a better way of life, a better way of living.
Quality of life is affected. Crime goes up. Families become dysfunctional. The burden to take care of that population grows. You know, that's a scary thought. I can get in my car and I can go and drive down the street where I know we've made a difference. And I can see kids playing in the yard, someone sitting on the front porch. And we know we had something to do with that.
Because when you go through the neighborhood and you see the houses that are done, and then you realize that it is an Urban League house, you're like, there's another one, they did another one, you know, they're working on another one, and it's a good thing. It makes you feel good to know that you are a part of it.
So yeah, we do transform neighborhoods. That is our purpose, not only to have a transformational impact on neighborhoods and to not only to provide housing, but to have transformational impact.
Housing is not always about having a roof over your head. Sometimes that roof springs leaks. Sometimes it gets overtaken by vines or shrubs. And sometimes that house resides in a community that has become disinvested, dirty, and dangerous. Our next segment looks at a well-known housing group, Habitat for Humanity, and how one of its lesser-known programs used neighborhood cleanups to enhance community safety and build cohesion between residents and the Lexington, Kentucky police force.
Lexington Habitat was started with incorporation in 1986. The first home was started in 1987 and dedicated in 1988. Some of the areas where we've built over the last nearly 30 years are still distressed and still where a lot of the need lives, if you will. Well, there are about 16,000 families who fall under the poverty level in Lexington. And we know that many of those live in substandard housing, either structurally or substandard by virtue of them being overcrowded. And some of them we would define as substandard because they are not decent and affordable.
Today we are partnering with the Lexington Habitat for Humanity affiliate, and we are repairing 7 houses and beautifying a park here in Lexington.
The families are impacted here in Lexington by we're creating a safer environment for them to live on, more efficient homes, and we're also cultivating community pride for our neighbors.
The thought behind these service projects, specifically a repair project with Lexington Habitat for Humanity, is that we're giving our members, we're giving our community an opportunity to come together and to give back.
When we've done the home preservation projects with our Love Your Neighborhood program like we're doing today, we have been very well received by the neighborhoods because they know that their homes are going to be improved, and the folks who are not part of the program are grateful for the improvement on their streets.
He's lived here pretty much all of his life, and he's 79 now. To be able to get up each morning for him, to go to bed at night, to see such a wonderful thing to happen to his home and the community that he's been living in all of his life. So that's a wonderful thing.
They happened to remodel the outside of my house to make it look better than it was because I can't afford to have it done. And it's helping the neighborhood to look a lot better.
The We Care program started in 2012, and we went in and we had police, fire, corrections, all volunteers coming in and working directly with Habitat. And we cleaned up brush that was harboring a spot for illegal activities to happen. We painted porches, we repaired siding, and we showed the neighborhood that we were interested in investing in them, and it's made a tremendous difference in that neighborhood today.
And lots of people have the misconception that Habitat houses are free, and that's very far from the truth. Our families, from the time they apply for a Habitat home to the time they actually purchase the home, have to do hours and hours of what we call sweat equity. And then we do a very extensive curriculum of 2-hour-long classes on a weekly basis on money management, home maintenance, yard maintenance. So all of that time counts toward the down payment of their house. And in addition to that, they actually have a mortgage payment, which lots of people are surprised to hear about.
I have received a house through Habitat that is fully accessible, that I can use my wheelchair. I'm also now an ambassador for Habitat. I'm very proud of it. It's a gift that I am thankful for, that I can live and do everything I want independently.
I was living in public housing. I really couldn't get ahead, paying $400 and $500 rent. And every raise you get, your rent goes up with every raise you get. Whereas with Habitat, my mortgage is just $350, and that's mortgage. And I just got a $1.72 raise, and my mortgage is still $350. I'm able to save money if I make wise choices. And with Habitat, they teach you and they give you the tools in order to budget your money. It works for you if you work with that.
What they do is they do a tremendous job of bringing people together to help their neighbors.
As of today, we'll have served 35 families with home preservation. We've served hundreds with neighborhood cleanups, thousands of people who shop in our restore, tens of thousands who have been given the opportunity to love their neighbors. So those things would be gone.
You'll see, some neighborhoods start to deteriorate over time, and those unfortunately sometimes are plagued with issues that surround poverty and lower socioeconomic status.
We've put our trust, our money, our employee time in the hands of Habitat to make those connections. So, without an organization like Habitat, I'm not sure who would take care of us.
Had there not been a Habitat, I wouldn't be a homeowner. If there wouldn't have been a way I could have afforded to be a homeowner without Habitat.
It's wonderful, wonderful. I'm just happy, just thankful to get this done, and so appreciative to Habitat.
It is about community. It's about bringing people together. It's about creating happiness. It's about hope for the future. And ultimately, until everyone has a decent place to live, none of us have a decent place to live.
I just wanted more for my children. Wanted more for my kids. Basically, I did it for my kids. He could actually say, this is mine. This is my house. Yeah.
The Hope Lodge, like its nearby neighbor, the Ronald McDonald House, has a mission to house the patients and families of those who require extended hospital care. Unlike the nonprofits we've just featured, these two groups work to provide loving and supportive homes away from home.
You know, this place provides a home away from home, not just for families that are hundreds of miles away in eastern Kentucky. There are families from Nicholasville, from nearby counties who, even in Fayette County, if you live across town but you need to be 5 minutes away from your child, the Ronald McDonald House has open arms for you.
They had to prove that Lexington, Kentucky was able to not only open a Ronald McDonald House, but operate it and continue to find the friends and the funds to keep the doors open. And we've done that for 30 years. Anyone can stay at the Ronald McDonald House. It's not specified by any geography. It's not specified by any socioeconomic situation or circumstance. It basically comes down to, is your child sick and do you need to remain a few steps from their child's bedside? Each room has its own private bathroom, has a beautiful Tempur-Sealy bed, and allows you to have that area of seclusion and privacy. However, there are many spaces throughout the house that can be shared by families. So we offer several different areas where families can come out and gather together and watch television. We offer laundry facilities at no charge so families can continue to do their laundry. We have a beautiful kitchen that is a commercial grade kitchen, but really ultimately feels like your kitchen at home. It has an ease of use so families can help themselves and feel welcome. There's a little bit of recreation for the parents too, which is nice.
On April 19th, 2010, Reed was born. I was full term, but I ended up having a placental abruption in the middle of my labor, which caused a lot of blood loss to his kidneys and resulted in his kidneys shutting down. He was born on a Monday. On Thursday, I was released from the hospital, and then we began staying at the Ronald McDonald House, I think, the following day.
They told us it's going to be an extensive stay, and like on his third day, they done surgery and replaced his dialysis tube.
And when he was 5 days old, he began kidney dialysis. He stayed in the hospital for 5 months, so of course, the Ronald McDonald House became our home, away from home. We were not willing to leave him, and so in order for us to be able to stay with him, we were blessed by the Ronald McDonald House. We could look out our window, our bedroom window, and see the hospital. And it was just so comforting to know that even though we were not able to spend the night in the NICU with him, that he was within sight. So he definitely has a lot of war wounds. He's proud of them though. He's worked hard for them.
One of my most vivid memories here at the Ronald McDonald House was with a volunteer group from my company, kNOwMORE, and our group was preparing dinner for the families that night. Right before we were about to wrap up and pack up all the food and put it in the fridge, there was an older gentleman who came in, and he was by himself. Turns out his son had been in an ATV accident, had a severe brain injury, and at that moment he didn't know whether his son was going to make it. The relief that he had just to spend a few minutes in a quiet place where he knew he would be well taken care of, I think really touched him, and he broke down in tears as we were standing there talking. I'll never forget that moment because he finally had a chance to collect his thoughts for just a minute over a hot meal, and this man needed help, and fortunately we were there, and the house is here to provide that. So it was a very special moment.
I mean, we'd had to let either not pay our house payment and car payment, and so we'd have a motel room here.
Without the Ronald McDonald House, we would see families sleeping in their cars in the hospital parking garages. We would see families financially struggling, not able to not able to afford staying in a hotel because of the mounting medical bills that they're facing.
I think it would not take very long at all for families to feel devastated by a lack of having a place to call home. I just think that our basic human need and what ties us together as a human race is that we need other people to help us get through the dark times.
Just don't understand how some people couldn't be here without this place. That we just couldn't be with our child, and there's a lot of people they couldn't be here with their children if it wasn't for them being able to stay here with no money. So what a blessing. I mean, just.
The community that they develop in their time here at the Ronald McDonald House is something that we often hear from those families that they will never forget.
When you're here and you have a sick child, we're all in the same boat here. There may be people from all kinds of backgrounds in this house, but everybody has a common bond, and I think that common bond really leads to that family atmosphere too.
And it's really tough to put into words how those relationships are formed, but it's obvious that this house is doing an incredible job bringing people together.
In 2007, we were able to open the doors to the 22nd Hope Lodge in the country and the only one in the state of Kentucky. We have actually had over 25 different states represented at the Hope Lodge. We've touched almost every Kentucky county.
Well, we're doing our tree lighting ceremony. It's a yearly event where all of the people who have stayed here throughout the years can come back and kind of reconnect with each other. It's going to start with food, and then it will get a little bit more playful, and then we kind of end with I don't want to say somber, but a remembrance type of a note. It's an emotional evening.
I see patients often very early, and knowing that once you hear that word or once you have that suspicion of cancer that comes up in your life, then all of a sudden a lot of the other decisions just become a lot harder. The Hope Lodge offers that one barrier, that one burden that's on them about where do I stay, how do I get there, how do I get back and forth to my treatments. They're so relieved that it's another opportunity that they can take that burden off, and all of a sudden they're fighting with you now rather than buried.
The first doctor I saw, he told me, he said, don't worry about it. He said, we've got this taken care of. He said, you'll stay at Hope Lodge. And I was still going, no, this is just, I can't pay for this. And, he just could not get through to me that this was not going to cost me a dime. In my mind, there was no way that there was, that it was too good to be true. I have found hope here.
I've actually had patients that have expressed such gratitude for Hope Lodge and have even said, if it weren't for Hope Lodge, I would have had to forego treatment. That's pretty powerful. And so it's really been a blessing to patients and caregivers. Any way I can make things easier for them is really what I want to do. But they do become your family, and like Kathy said, you lose people, and you do experience a great loss. It's like losing part of your family.
But the beautiful part, my favorite part about the Hope Lodge is that once they come through these doors, and it's not so much the staff or even the volunteers, while those are amazing, it is the group of people that interact with each other.
Because everyone here at the Hope Lodge, aside from the volunteers and the staff, everyone here's, we have the same unique needs and the same unique fears and the same unique experiences. And if we're having an off day or we're having a really challenging, rough day as a part of that treatment, people here get it. They know.
I really worry about even the people that we have to turn away when we're full, that they call in and they said, you know, oh, well, we drove in 2 hours and we don't have anywhere to stay and we don't have any money to get a hotel room and we really need this treatment.
Without something like the Hope Lodge, I think those patients may choose not to get that extra treatment, not to go that extra mile.
Oh, I would probably die. And I mean, if I couldn't have the treatment I get here, because I'm not going to get this treatment anywhere else. The treatment I get here, I'm not going to get anywhere else. And if I can't get this treatment, I would probably die.
It's devastating. You would be presenting a situation where someone's only option is taken away. It would be absolutely detrimental if this program disappeared. It'd be scary. I hope that we're here as long as we need to be here. You know, 32 rooms sounds like a large number. It's not. I wish we had 50 rooms sometimes. The worst part of my job is calling someone and telling them, I'm sorry, but we are completely full. We do not have a room for you. The worst part of my job is to make that phone call, because that phone call could be the difference between a person coming and getting the treatment they need and staying at home.
And when you can take that stressor off the table, how do I come up with the money so that I can get the best possible treatment? You've not only helped save millions of dollars for survivors, you have quite possibly even saved their life, because they can access the best possible treatment.
It's that, oh, there's another opportunity, there's another chance here, another hope.
We'd like to thank the folks at the Hope Lodge, the Ronald McDonald House, Habitat for Humanity, and the Urban League of Lexington for allowing us to visit. I hope we've inspired you to go out in your communities and learn more about the nonprofit work taking place. Until then, I'm Kyle Lake, asking you to know more.